Have you ever felt like your customers don't appreciate your product or your service as they should? Have you ever wanted to have only profitable customers who love your product or service? And have you ever felt that your money spent on advertising was wasted? You could just well take that money and put it into the bin? If you answer yes to any of these questions, then you will want to pay very close attention to this training, because you can select your customers and get the right customers, and I'll show you how. By the time you finish this training, you will have a very clear understanding on what you need to do and not to do to attract your best customers so your business grows with no more effort on your side. And you will also know what mistakes to avoid. And especially if you use any promotion like Facebook ads, Google ads, flyers, emails, website, you will know how to adjust your promotion materials so they do their job. If you ever felt frustrated because you work really hard to get more customers, only to see that more customers mean more trouble and not more money for you, and that you're still worrying that every month you still need to pay your bills and potentially struggling to pay for your clothes or your holidays, well, I can relate to you because I was in that same situation. But when I discovered what I'm going to show you in this training, things have changed for the better and forever. See, most entrepreneurs have three main challenges when it comes to selling and making more profits. And once you understand these challenges, you're already one step ahead. But if you don't understand them, you will increasingly limiting your chances to make profits. Most entrepreneurs I've been working with have an amazing product, but they are not selling much. And how can they sell if they are not generating enough leads or prospects? And how can they generate leads and prospects? Why would they invest in money into paying for getting traffic to their website if they're not converting those leads and prospects and opportunities into cash? See, a lot of the entrepreneurs complain about their competitors these days. They say that, oh, competition is really, really tough. It's getting really tough especially in my industry. And a lot of people use this word like competitors are stealing our customers. Or even worse, people don't know that they exist. They don't know about their wonderful products or services. And if they know, they're not willing to try them out. But there is one more challenge, the challenge that we are going to focus on this training, and that has to do with customer. See, many entrepreneurs have customers, but those customers don't really value what they get, and they expect to get much more, or they want to pay less. So the entrepreneurs end up working longer hours and generating hardly any profits. They believe price is an issue and they keep reducing it. So they get frustrated because they put so much effort in and not getting much out. Many business owners, professional service providers, feel vulnerable because they don't know what's going to happen tomorrow in their business. They don't know what money they expect to receive or not to receive. So they can't plan their business, which means they can't really plan their life either. So this is why I designed the ideal customer targeting system. And I'm going to reveal for you how you can identify and sell to the right clients and grow rich and avoid all that frustration that you have been accumulating with your existing clients. You're going to discover what professional marketers do even before they do anything else. That means before they even think of marketing or selling. And finally, I'll show you how you can do it very, very quickly in just few steps, and how you can use this information to increase response to your messages, your ads, and any marketing materials you use. And I would like to illustrate some of my points with this very practical, well, not even exercise. Let's take it as a case study, as a story. See, a ballet coach in this example was desperate to get new students. Since he teaches kids, he put his ads in the classes of schools and in pediatrics cabinets of a hospital, both located near his home, which is a low-income area of a large town. How do you think such actions influence his business? What do you think of his actions? Are they sensible because he doesn't have to travel much? Are they sensible because he advertises to his targets, which is kids? Do you think this strategy really helped him? Well, he made so far 3 major mistakes. One, parents are the decision makers and the buyers, and not the kids, who are the beneficiaries only. It's true that some kids can influence the buying decisions of their parents, but in the end of the day, parents are the ones paying. And parents don't go into school classes, so they can't see the ads. The offer was made to state schools in areas with low-income families, which means they attract people that don't have much money. And the ads were in medical cabinets where people are concerned about something else. They go to the doctor because they want their kids to be healthy, to get better from whatever disease they have, and not because they care about their ballet classes at that particular moment in time. Further on, because the coach believed in straight talk, and he was really fed up with high dropout rates from his classes, his ads sounded like this: ballet classes, hard work for kids, financial effort for parents, but worth it. Well, how many kids are dying to get into something that promises to be hard work? And how many parents with below average or average income are keen on paying or able to pay big money on something that is not sure their kid will enjoy or be good at or extract any value from? So with this strategy, what did the coach achieve? Without even realizing it, through the channels and messages he used, he exactly targeted the wrong audience. He reached families with low or average income located in his area, which explained why his dropout rates were so high and why he didn't have much people to take his classes. Now let's look at strategy number 2, where the same ballet coach advertises to the parents, because now he realized that he needs to target the decision maker. And it's not just the parents, but it's the affluent mothers. It's the mothers, first of all, because the mothers are concerned about the upbringing of the kids. And it's also mothers who can afford to pay for the classes, for the equipment, and for taking their kids to ballet events, etc. But how can he reach these mothers? Where do they take the information from? From specialists that recommend from sources that they trust. And he figured out that one such source would be glossy magazines. So then he put an interview in a glossy magazine. Now, another question. What are the moms buying? They are buying the dream that their kids, especially girls, would become stars, that everybody admires them, including those in posh neighbors. So you see how the same offering, the same ballet coach classes could be targeted to one type of buyer versus another type of buyer. What do you think that happened when the ballet coach targeted the second type of buyers? He ended up selling to rich families, which can afford to pay much more money for his classes. So do you see now how going for the right client, how identifying the right client is the strategy, is the starting point for anything? Now, before we move on, I would like to show you 3 deadly mistakes that prevent small businesses from attracting the right customers and from making the money that they deserve. Mistake number 1, you might have heard me talking about this, but I'm going to go into much more detail during this class. And that is no targeting or bad targeting. If we look at the targeting wedge, we already know that by non-targeting, we are here. We don't sell much and we don't make much profits. And the more targeted our approach is, the easier it is to sell and the larger the profits are. You must know by now that when you get the right clients, you increase your profits by 40 to 50% because of 2 reasons. Reason number 1, you get the right people that will accept the value that you provide and are prepared to pay the right amount of money for whatever you give. And secondly, because they like you and they like the product or service that they receive from you, they will recommend your business to others. So you get business without doing anything, just by serving the right clients. If you don't identify the right customer, everything else is wrong. And I see this over and over again. And I'll explain you why. Because you don't know how to get the interest of your targeted customer. Your message is too broad and they feel excluded from your marketing messages. And I was just talking yesterday or a few days ago with one of our clients in the Marketing Lens Growth program. I saw on his profile targeting CEOs and small business owners. These are 2 very different categories. And if somebody sees himself as the CEO, would not see himself as the small business owner. If somebody sees as a small business owner, they would not see themselves as a CEO. So it's already contradicting, and that kind of message puts away both types of people. Now, why do you need to identify your right target? Because you need to start where they are. And if you don't know who they are, you don't know their problems, their needs, and their wants. I repeat this because I've seen again this mistake being made by most entrepreneurs we deal with. If you don't know your ideal customer, if you haven't spotted it's Mr. Jones or Mrs. Maria, you won't know their problems, their needs, and their wants. And how can you create your messages if you don't know whom you're talking to. I'm going to come back to this because it's a very, very important point. You need to use their words in your messages. And let me give you an example. I used to market Marketing Lens Growth Program to business owners who wanted to grow business. So I would go like, okay, do you want to grow your business? Click here. And not many clicks. But after I got the words from our target, my message sounded like this. Do you have a wonderful product or service that you know your client really, really benefit from, but you're frustrated because you don't get enough clients, you don't have enough people to know about your wonderful product or service, and perhaps you're still struggling to paying your bills or to growing your business, you have so much in your plate that you don't know where to start. If that's you, come here. See, everything I told you in the second type of message is from you. It's from people that are part of the Marketing Lens Growth Program and are the words that I received from people just like you. And I hope that you would identify yourself much better with the second message. Now let's go into mistake number 2. Most companies get bad customers. They serve many of the bad customers. And if we look in the example before, you can already see that the ballet coach was targeting initially bad customers, and after he realized, then he switched completely his approach. He went for the good customers. So what is a good customer versus a bad customer? That's for you to decide for your own business. For me, a good customer is somebody really, really keen to grow their business, willing to put in the work and efforts, attending our master classes, using our fast track implementation plans, communicating with us in Facebook, asking us loads of questions, because those are the people that will get results and will recommend the program to other people. What are bad customers for us? People that don't decide, never make the time to attend our classes, never make the time to go through our materials, never interacting with us. These are the people that will go out there. Of course, they don't get any results. They'll go out there in the market and they'll say, oh, Marketing Lens Growth Program doesn't work. Why does it not work? Because they don't put in the time and the effort and the energy to make it work. So for you, just some guidelines. Good customer might be somebody that is really easy to acquire as a customer, a pleasure to serve, really, really nice to deal with, maybe intellectually challenging if you are in professional service providing area, buying loads from you, really, really loving and liking your product or service and really wanting it and needing what you have to offer. It's people that don't negotiate on price, pay on time, and generate nice margins. What could be bad customer for you? Could be low margins, could be very difficult to acquire, taking forever to decide to join your product or buy your program, your product. Negotiating every penny, the delaying in paying or even not paying at all, and just overall generating little money or sometimes even losses. I see a lot of entrepreneurs serving bad customers who generate losses for them, and I've been in that situation myself. So by firing your bad customers, you grow your business. Why? Because you free up your time to go look for better customers, to serve better customers, and you also free up your energy, your brain capacity to focus on the good customers. Mistake number 3. Most entrepreneurs want to sell now, so their message is buy now, buy my product right now. But let's look at the buyer's interest wedge. I mentioned to you before, most people, whatever you sell, are not interested, and they know they are not interested. What happens if you try to sell to these people? They will consider you as a spammer, and they will hang up if you call them. They will not want to hear from you. Many people are indifferent. What happens if you want to sell to these people? The same thing. Now, some people are open to the type of product or service you sell, but they are not ready to buy just yet. What happens if you try to sell to these people? You will upset them. It's only 3% that are ready to buy and willing to buy right now and might react positively to your message buy now. So what I would like you to understand is that in each of these categories, there are different types of messages. And we want to move people towards buy now, taking them where they are. Let's take an example. Somebody wanting to buy a car. It's in 3%. He buys the car, and then right after he buys the car, he moves from buy now into being indifferent or definitely not interested because he's just bought the car. But a year later, he gives birth to a kid. Another year later, he gives birth to another kid. And all of a sudden, his sports car that he bought 2 years ago is no longer serving the family. So he needs to replace the car. So he moves from this area towards buy now again. So when he gets the first child, maybe he's thinking of buying a new car. When he gets the second child, he goes into buy now area. So you see how somebody moves between different categories of interest. And the successful entrepreneurs understand the buyer's journey of their potential customer and speak to them where they are. So it's one message that I'm going to send to the guy that has just bought a car, which is indifferent, and I want to keep him warm. And it's a totally different message that I'm going to send to the guy that wants to buy right now. And I hope you can understand this concept, because this is the basis of everything you do. You want to speak to people where they are, and you also want to understand what makes them to move from one area to another. These are the triggers. What are the triggers to get them to move? And you also want to understand what's stopping them from moving. So for example, the guy with 2 kids, he wants to upgrade the car, but he really likes his sports car and he doesn't want to pay any more money on a bigger car. So he's pulled to get into here by his need of getting his family moving around, but he's still kept in here or maybe here by his lack of money or maybe lack of time, because he maybe needs to refinance the next car, or his still enjoyment of his existing car. So once you understand what pulls people to move towards you and what stops people from moving, you will again be able to communicate with them in the right way to get them towards buying your product. I'm going to come back to this point because it's really, really important. Now let's look in the summary of why you're not getting more success. First of all, it could be that you are targeting the wrong customer, if you are targeting at all. And I want to give you an example here with my own mistake. When I had my consulting company, I was raising finance for investment projects. And I had a really, really good client. We got funding for his investment project. He built a bed and breakfast in the Danube Delta. And then because we liked each other, we said, okay, let's do more projects together. And he had different businesses, and we ended up having 5 projects where we were raising different types of funding for completely different types of projects, because he was a good customer. But then he became a bad customer because he had too much to cope with, and he couldn't deal with his workload. And he didn't have anybody to take the brainy work out of his shoulders. And because he couldn't deliver on time, most projects got delayed, which meant that we had to do more work in talking to the financing authorities, in upgrading and updating the documentation over and over and over again. And from having a really good customer that gave us a nice profit to start with the last 2 projects, which are still not completed yet, we ended up on a loss. So just to show you how a good customer could become a bad customer. Now, another mistake is wrong communication channels. And I see it over and over again being done by small business owners. Now, you are small business owners, professional service providers. And I know you want to grow your business. Now, I communicate with you via Facebook because you are on Facebook. But what if I communicated with you with The Economist? Not many small business owners have the time and the patience and the interest in reading The Economist, even though it's a brainy magazine and there are good stuff in there. So it's really choosing the right communication channel is very, very important. The reason why I choose Facebook is because everybody is on Facebook. They're not on Facebook to listen to my promotion messages or to buy my product. They are on Facebook to socialize with their friends, to see the baby of their whoever neighbor, or to see pictures with somebody else going on holiday somewhere, which is fine. When I get them with a message talking about their pain points and their frustration and showing them help, I grab them out of their Facebook socialization, if I can call it like this, and I get them to a landing page which I build with an article that gives them valuable information to deal with that challenge. So see, I get them from where they are, where I want them to go, using the right communication channel. Now, wrong message. I've made this mistake over and over and over again. If I asked you, come to this masterclass so you know how to work with persona, would you have been interested? Probably not. But that's what I'm going to show you. Instead, I asked you to come to this masterclass so you know how to attract the right customers for you so you grow your business easily, which is a message much more compelling for you. Now, I gave you a recent example of a wrong message I used. I wanted to partner with somebody that had a very, very big list of business owners. And I offered him to email his list with one of our tools on Tooliers and say, okay, let's email this tool and let's share the profit. And he said no. Now, I spoke to him luckily, and I understand why he said no. He didn't say no to him sharing the tool to his list. He said no to splitting the profits because his interest was most to give to his list something of value and not to make money out of that list from other products. So when I understood this, I went back to him and I said, okay, let's offer this tool for free to your list with a discount voucher that they can purchase for zero money. So this way you give value to your list and I get potential customers, which when they like this tool, they will potentially buy other tools from Tooliers. See how just the same partnership, the same outcome in the end, emailing that guy's list, but the different message made a huge difference. And the wrong offer. I will invite you to attend another masterclass, which I'm just developing as we speak, on your offering. It's not enough to having a good product. A good product together with a good positioning, with a good price, makes a good offer. Just the product by itself doesn't do the trick. And I tell you that I made this mistake over and over again at the very, very beginning when I was offering tools to grow the business. Now, when I packaged those tools together in Marketing Lens Growth program, people were interested and started to sign up. But when I just said, hey, take this tool here, nobody wanted, because the tool by itself was not appealing to people. And I would like to make a point here that people don't buy products. They buy what the product does for them. I repeat because this is very important. People don't buy products or services. They buy what the product or service does for them. They buy the result. Just a very quick example. Nobody that I know of would wake up in the morning and say, oh, I want to join a coaching program. But a lot of people say, oh, I have this problem. I want to lose weight. And how can I lose weight? Oh, I am going to join a coaching program because I can't do it by myself. See, so it's just the reason why people would join that coaching program on losing weight is because they want to see themselves with 10 or 20 or 30 kilos or pounds less. They want the result. Now, let's do a very, very quick exercise. I am going to show you 5 slides, and I would like you to see which one of them would trigger any reaction in you. For which one of these slides do you want to know more about? Go in more detail, or just say, oh, that's getting my attention. Slide number 1. Number 2. Slide number 3. Slide number 4. And slide number 5. If you look back, you will realize that you've reacted to 1 or 2 of these slides and you were indifferent to the others. So for example, if you reacted to this slide, you probably have a family or want to establish one, and you want to provide more to them. See, the words are identical on all the slides. It's just the picture that is different. So, question is, how can we find those pictures that trigger the interest of our potential customer? And the answer is by developing the avatar or persona. It's exactly the same thing, which represents the ideal customer. Don't be put off by this fancy, mysterious title, persona or avatar. It's just the best customer for your business. A persona is your Prince Charming, your best potential outcome. And knowing who they are enables you to identify the right way of approaching them. See, the reason people have so many problems with getting the right customers, with getting business in general, is that they don't make the decision to take the steps and define who those people that they target are. They constantly make excuses. They don't see the value or the money in it. So you've got to make a decision. You've got to block off the time because everybody's busy. And you've got to work on the fast-track implementation plan on developing your persona. See, the one thing crucial for generating leads, opportunities, potentials in today's tough economy is using persona. And by following the persona fast-track implementation plan as part of Marketing Lens growth program, you will identify and reach your ideal customers and convert them without spending any more money on marketing. Persona is that ideal customer who loves your product or service, where there is a perfect fit between what you sell and their needs, their desires, they want. And that person will recommend your product or service, your business, yourself, to whoever they talk to, because they love what they get out of you. And I'm going to quickly show you the actions in the persona fast-track implementation plan. And I will just want to point out what's the most important so you get the most out of your work with this implementation plan. Action number 1 is to identify the real people behind persona. If you have a business, you want to choose one product or service, which I call offering or solution, and you want to work only on that one. So a very brief example. If you sell computers, that's one product. But if you sell computers to students, to kids, to government agencies, to companies, to schools, each of these is one separate offering, one separate solution. So when you work on your persona fast-track implementation plan, choose one solution. So let's say computers for schools. Because you will see the way you communicate with schools is totally different to the way you communicate with corporates, even though you still sell the computer. If you don't have a business, to think of your 10 customers, which I would like you to list right down, I would recommend you to write down 10 potential customers which are amongst people that you know. I want you to list down real people because that's where you start in identifying and developing your persona. Action number 2 is you start developing your persona. So based on the people that you've put down, you've written down the names of, you then write their main characteristics. Background, it's very easy. They are a female or a male, they are between 20 or 30 years old, demographics, firmographics, identifiers, these are the basics which are very, very simple for you to do. They live in the countryside or in the city. They wear tattoos, or they have good manners when they eat, or whatever is specific to the people that you're already serving and you've put down on your list. This is where it becomes interesting. You want to really understand the situation that they are in. You want to understand what's going on in their head. So there will be questions like sentences to fill in. My customer would say they are lacking in. So and here, don't think of your solution. Think of their problem. So for example, my targets, the entrepreneurs that I want to join Marketing Lens Growth Program, they wake up in the morning and say, I have to pay the rent this morning and I don't have the money. I want to do this and this and that, but I don't have the time because I have to take the kids to school. I want to employ a new person. Oh, and I don't have the resources to develop a new website. These are the bits that my customers are lacking in. Nobody is lacking Marketing Lens Growth Program participation. They don't even know they exist. So I hope you understand the difference between the problem of the customer that they understand, they face, they see, they feel, and the way you say things given your solution. Then you want to identify the negative persona, which are your bad customers, because you want to fire them. You want to identify what makes a bad customer, and you want to avoid those kind of people in future. And I tell you that another example, I wasn't aware of this. At some point, I was targeting restaurant owners with some of the tools on Tooliers. And I said, oh, great, we've helped a lot of restaurants, so we want to target more of such restaurants. But then we realized that restaurants were bad persona, negative persona for us, because most restaurant owners are busy going to get the lime on the last minute, chopping the onion in the kitchen. They love cooking, or they love staying in the restaurant, or they just are completely everywhere, and they don't spend the time in front of their computer. And if they're not by their computer, they cannot participate in our master classes, they cannot use our tools and programs. But there is another reason. The restaurant owners that we eventually discovered and talked to, they love their business the way it is. They don't really want to grow. Most restaurant owners made it for the lifestyle because they like to wake up in the morning and come to their restaurant and have a coffee with their regular clients, and they don't really care if their tables are full or not. They just enjoy chatting around with the people in the restaurant and being there and seeing lots of people coming in and out and just welcoming their guests, and another day passes by. And they're not really committed and keen on growing their business. So I would like you to identify your negative persona so you're sure you won't get them as your customers. Then action number 4, this is critical. Without customer interviews, you won't be able to sell. You won't have enough information to be able to attract your customers' interest, because during your customers' interviews, you understand what frustrates your customers, potential customers or customers, what makes them happy, what stresses them up, how their life looks like when they are happy or when they satisfied whatever need you satisfy. And during the customer interviews, you want to write down everything they tell you, because you want their words in order to be able to promote your services. That's marketing gold. What they tell you, what they give you as words, this is your marketing gold material. But you also want to understand their triggers, and that's also during your customer interviews. So when you do your customer interviews, make sure that you write down and you keep that information longer, because you'll use that in your marketing materials. Now, action 5 is to finish developing the persona by filling in the gaps of what you initially started with the information that you acquired during your customer interviews. And then you must design your persona's buying journey map. Again, using information from the customer interviews and what you think and guess, you want to write down the triggers that makes them to move towards your product or service and what stops them from going towards buying your product or service. You want to understand their objections for not buying, because it's only when you understand that you'll be able to handle them. And also, you want to understand where people are, so you serve the right message to each and every person. Because as we discussed earlier, only a few people are really ready and interested in buying right now. And what you want to do, you want to be alongside your customers' buying journey. You want to be there with them from wherever they are right now, and be close to them when they approach the buy now area or segment. And this is how you set the marketing foundation, the foundation for your marketing content. Now, these are the 7 actions in your fast track implementation plan on persona. And I hope that you are working on this. And I'm looking forward to seeing and hearing your wonderful results and achievements.